discipline is the linchpin of success. And while, yes, talent may offer a head start to a lot of things, it's discipline that creates momentum. And it's the thing that will propel you towards your goals and your aspirations. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. Today's topic, I want to get right to it because this is something I continually hear, whether I'm working with someone or I see it on social media or I'm speaking at an event. I keep hearing this reoccurring theme where people were saying, you know what, Candy, I hear what you're saying about business or about growth or about numbers or about profit, but I'm just not really that good at it. I'm not sure about it. I don't really have any experience in that area. Really what it boils down to is talent. What I'm hearing is that people are saying that they don't have talent in a specific area. So today's topic of the episode is why discipline will beat out talent every day of the week. I'm going to say that again. Discipline will beat talent every day of the week. In the area of success, we are so mesmerized and enamored by the innate abilities of prodigies, of people that have effortless abilities in some specific area or has like a natural flair. In the arena of success, like we are mesmerized and just enamored by prodigies with high intellect and, athletes that have natural ability and flair. And I think that there is value in having natural ability as it will shape what it is that you're wanting to do in life. But there is something that's actually greater, and that is the power of discipline. And we have data that supports this also. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. But discipline is the thing that whatever it is that you're looking to do, if you are willing to be committed, if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to put in the time, we hear people all the time, like let's say a golfer or an athlete, 'cause it's something that's common for all of us to understand, that maybe there was a golfer that had better talent naturally, but there was another golfer that was always on the green earlier, that took more strokes, that was always out putting and swinging and doing all the things that golfers do. We hear that also in just the arena of football and basketball, people that maybe didn't have the best talent, but they had the best discipline to develop the talent in that specific area. And so there is a dark side to talent. And I think so often we put talent on a pedestal, but undoubtedly, it's a valuable asset, and it may get you a little bit of a head start or an edge. However, on its own, it can be a recipe for disaster. And hear me out. Without discipline, even the people with the most remarkable talents will fail in the face of challenges. So if you happen to be one of those kids that had immense talent in a certain area that became extremely easy for you to do something, you will, the data supports, eventually fail at the face of challenge because you haven't developed that muscle of discipline to succeed in any type of environment. Talent often leads to complacency. Discipline, on the other hand, has that hunger, that grit, where someone's always wanting for the edge. And they know that because discipline will outlive and outwork and outsurvive talent, that they can control the odds in their favor. The proof shows that when success comes too easily for someone, there's just little incentive for them to push the boundary and to really explore one's own potential. And it's why discipline is literally the backbone to success and achievement. It's the commitment to those daily efforts, the progress, the relentless pursuit of excellence, despite any of the obstacles. While talent might dictate where you start, it's really discipline that's going to determine how far you go. And they say this about kids. Like if you have kids or you're going to have kids, one of the most important things you can remember is to allow your kids to struggle. Allow your kids to face some adversity. Allow your kids to have challenge, because otherwise, by you making their life so epicuric and easy, you're actually robbing them of the one thing that they need most, which is to develop the skill to overcome anything. Struggle and adversity and having discipline is what teaches us that we can overcome those challenges and that we can create any reality that we want. And so I want to talk a little bit about how you can cultivate discipline if you feel like it's not something that you've ever intentionally done. So if you happen to be someone that struggles with discipline, that you commit too easily and you give up too soon, That's okay. Fear not. There is actually a way that you can develop the skill of discipline. And that's what I want to break into right now. So, number one is set clear goals. Define exactly what it is that you want to achieve. And obviously, one of the most important parts is why it matters to you. Setting clear goals of just an achievement isn't going to have the same weight and going to connect you to the discipline in order to achieve it if you don't have the why that you want it. So often I hear entrepreneurs say, well, I want to build a $25 million company. I want to build a $100 million company. Okay, why? Like, really, why is it that you want to do that? Because what I find so often is gone unchecked when people just have these ambiguous goals and they don't really have the why behind why they want to do it. It's typically because they are fulfilling some void. They are trying to prove their worth. They're trying to prove their skill, their intellect, that they're talented at something. And really what they end up doing is they go along a path that is somebody else's path, that they genuinely want that why, but instead they're doing it because they feel like they need something to prove. Maybe they weren't recognized as a child, or they always felt like they were invisible. So they feel that these accomplishments will be like badges of honors. And so many entrepreneurs and successful people have fallen into this trap. And when they get to the goal of what they thought they wanted, they typically wake up feeling empty. They wake up feeling unfulfilled because here they were trying to chase some dream that really wasn't for them, because they never stopped to really look at the underlying reason of why do I want to accomplish this goal to begin with. So setting clear goals is going to provide the direction and help give you that internal motivation, which is going to be easier to have discipline. So that's number one. Number two is to create habits. You know, I talk about this in my first book, Wealth Habits, but establishing daily routines that support those goals so that you're not trying to, force yourself up the hill all the time, that these habits are propelling you closer to what it is that you want to achieve by integrating productive habits into your life, whether it's exercising or focused work or doing specific things, whether it's learning or thinking or implementing. You can really lay the groundwork to develop more discipline more quickly. So creating that habit, this could even be something as simple as, let's talk about the tactics of it, right? We've got strategies, what it is, tactics, how you do it. This could even be setting something intentional on your phone. Like whatever that goal is that you genuinely want to achieve, what is one thing you can do every day for just 1 hour that will get you one step closer to that goal? So often we feel like, this big goal is so unattainable, but when you chunk it down, it actually makes it much simpler to digest, process, and then develop the discipline to continue, which brings me to number three. How do we cultivate more discipline? Number three is be accountable. Surround yourself with individuals who hold you accountable for your actions. So whether it's a coach or a mentor or a group that you belong to, having someone that keeps you accountable to that success makes it easier to develop that discipline. Now, what I am not saying is for you to go announce what it is that you're going to do. Quite the opposite. I think that we need less people talking about what they are going to do, what they want to do, or what they're starting to do. I think we need more people that just announce it when it's done. Focus on your effort and then share the result. We have so many people running around just talking about what it is that they want to do. I think it would be far more powerful if you did the work in private, you connected with one person that held you accountable, and then you share the result after it's done. Because there is a lot of data that supports that you need to protect your dreams and your goals. Some of the most successful people I know, not the ones trying to sell you on how successful they are, they only share parts of their lives. But they're more about doing things, more about getting the result. And then they talk about their success after. They share, they don't gatekeep what it is that they've done, but they don't talk about it while they're doing it. So one of the most important things you can do is, yes, be accountable, but don't go out sharing all of the dreams and the goals that you have, because I think it was Sarah Blakely that first said that dreams and goals are like babies in their infancies. If you tell the wrong person, that fragile dream or goal could get stepped on or squashed by somebody else. So protect those dreams, cheerlead your goals, and don't share too much until you have the results that it's done. Which brings us to number four, assess your progress. Regularly monitoring your progress and identifying any areas of improvement is really key in developing discipline. Reflecting on the actions that you took, the ones that you failed to take, will allow you to course correct and make necessary adjustments to stay on track. Building discipline requires honesty with yourself. Like, have you actually been doing the work? Have you been making the reps? If you go out and let's say you're a golfer and were you actually out putting? Were you at the bar partying? Like, being honest with yourself so that when you're assessing your progress, you are not looking at it in a negative way. And that brings us to 5, which I think is probably one of the most important, which is to recognize the progress. Remember what I said? I said recognize the progress. Don't wait to celebrate to the end. When you recognize and celebrate the progress you make as you're building the goal, the dream, the life, whatever it is that you're wanting to create, and you're not waiting to celebrate that final achievement, when you do that, you reinforce positive behaviors and you really focus on what matters most, which is the effort. So often we hear successful people say that it's not what you want that's the goal. It's really who you become in the process of getting the goal. And so that's why it's so important to really focus on the effort and celebrate the process of that effort, because that's what you're positively reinforcing. It's positively reinforcing you showing up every day and not actually getting the result that you think that you want. Because again, you're developing the acumen then that you can succeed in any area. Even if you pivot or this thing fails, you've now developed discipline to go do whatever you want. And that brings us to number 6, be flexible. Understand that discipline is not synonymous with rigidity. Being adaptable and willing to change and adjust your approach as any circumstance might change. Flexibility allows us to navigate through obstacles while maintaining commitment to the goals. It's basically like having flexibility to the how. When you are so clear on your what, and you are so defined on why you want it, being flexible upon how you get it is the most important thing. Because the flexibility in the how, like I always say, don't worry about how you get there. Just be so clear on what you want to achieve. There's so many times in my life that things actually turned out completely different than what I thought I wanted. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. But because I wasn't focused on the how, and I was so focused on why I wanted to do that thing or achieve that thing or build this thing, the how kind of developed as I was moving forward, right? It's kind of like, it's not like you sit on the couch and you're like, this plan comes to you. A lot of times clarity comes through motion. It comes from doing. It doesn't come from just pausing and waiting for something to happen. So the how can look totally different. As long as your what is so clear and your why is felt so deeply, being flexible in your how is just going to get you to achieve it that much more easily. If I had to choose between being naturally talented at something or being naturally disciplined in everything, I'd take discipline, hands down, every day of the week. Discipline is the linchpin of success. And while, yes, talent may offer a head start to a lot of things, it's discipline that creates momentum, and it's the thing that will propel you towards your goals and your aspirations, regardless of how wide the gap is from where you are to where you want to go. Discipline is what will build the bridge through the divide. So with that consistent effort and really a shift in mindset of how we view things, really anyone can achieve anything, including greatness and including you. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in and spending this time with me today. If you found some value in this episode, please share it with someone that you care about. And thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.